Good evening, good evening, good evening. Happy Christmas Eve. Today is Tuesday, December 23rd, 2025. Doing another late evening video. I've been busy cooking snacks for Christmas celebrations. I made waffle sticks and decorated them with holiday icing, and then I made deviled eggs. It's been several years since I cooked for the holidays. So, that being said, I hope you have had a peaceful, positive, and productive day today. If not, I pray that your angels, ancestors, spirit guides, and of course the Most High help you with that. I also pray that He clothes us in His armor from head to toe, that He strengthens our discernment and guides our steps as we go throughout this day. And all days for that matter. Alright, because it's a late video, we're not going to do the mantra, so we're going to get started with the grief affirmation. Then we'll pull a chakra affirmation and a wild offering oracle. We got two today. My grief matters. Though my grief is painful, it is a natural, necessary, and healthy response to my wounds. I can learn to work with these feelings so that they can eventually guide me to a place of healing and safety. So yes, your grief does matter. Acknowledging your grief, that really connects with what we talked about last time. Acknowledging the grief process and allowing yourself to experience that, to, work through it. Okay, now we'll pull a chakra affirmation. Last time we got abundance, second chakra, sacral chakra. We all deal with grief in different ways. Plus, there are multiple different kinds of grief. So, allowing yourself the time, the space that you need to be able to grieve whatever, no matter what is causing the grief to occur. It's going to be different for everybody. Especially this time of year, a lot of us are grieving passed over loved ones, even grieving nostalgic memories, when we remember the old times, quote unquote, good times, that can bring on, grief like emotions. First chakra, base chakra, instinct. I trust that my instincts are correct and I let my natural intuitive feelings guide me forward. I know what I need to do and how to respond with wisdom to situations that come my way. I have an innate desire to be of service in life. As I tap into this feeling, I will know what service I am called to do. I believe in myself. That really came out a lot last time too. We talked about self-worth. Also listening to your intuition, listening to that gut instinct in all areas of life. All right. And, we saw the service card last time with the Wild Offering Oracle. Patience, service, and empowerment. All right, now we will pull from the Wild Offering Oracle. I am sipping on my tea tonight. It's a new blend. I actually got a new herb in. I ordered some passion flower. So this has passion flower, lemon balm, ashwagandha powder. I can't remember the rest. I actually made it last night and drank some of it last night hot, and I'm drinking it tonight cold. So, cheers. All right, and instead of my honey, I used the agave nectar this time. Ooh, that's way too many. Spaciousness is what was on top of that stack that fell out. Creating space, giving yourself space, knowing that a cluttered space can contribute to a cluttered mind. That's still way too many. Solitude, despair, intention, feelings, and challenges. And I guess on the radio now, we've made it to the point where it's just full-blown Christmas music all the time. Love. It's not about finding love. You are love itself. Help me, Lord, to send so much compassion and caring to the inner child that I always remember I myself am love. On the bottom of the deck, we have solitude. We already saw that. Once you embrace the inner divine and your own sacred solitude, the right people will arrive at the right time, exactly on schedule, without forcing or chasing. And then doubt on the top of the deck. Offering all to the divine doesn't mean negativity never arises, but you can say, free me from this prison of doubt. I cast this burden to you. Show me your will and restore me to faith and confidence. So releasing doubt, doubting yourself can cause a form of grief. In those moments of solitude, listen for your instinct, for your gut intuition. Listen to yourself. I believe in myself. Going back to the base chakra, first chakra instinct. Don't doubt yourself. Believe in yourself. Despite whatever grief or, struggle you might be dealing with right now, know and have faith and love yourself enough to know that you're worthy and that, just because you're a good person doesn't mean that bad things won't happen to you. But bad things happening to you doesn't mean you're not a good person. I hope that made sense. All right, now we'll pull from Angels of Abundance. Last time we got partnership and cooperation instead of competition. Strong teamwork energy. Finding your tribe. Finding the right people to partner with in whatever way that is, whether that's in love or just in life. One more. That wasn't a very good one. All right. Angels of Abundance. Let go of guilt. That didn't take any time. Words of abundance. It hasn't been that long since we saw that. Coming up on the bottom of the deck. And then donations, tithing, and charitable work on the top of the deck. Look at all that yellow. Yellow is associated with the third chakra, the solar plexus chakra, which is associated with inner peace, self-worth, self-acceptance, trusting and accepting our gut feelings, self-confidence, personal power, self-esteem, relating to the world around us. So strong solar plexus energy out here as well. Let go of guilt. When you allow your light to shine brightly, you inspire others. Forgive yourself for what you think you've done or not done, and trust that God loves you unconditionally for who you are. Learn and grow from past mistakes instead of beating yourself up for them. So, once again, talking about your self worth, letting go of the past, letting go of, mistakes that might have been made, letting go of the grief, letting go of the anger, definitely let go of the guilt. All right, and then donations, tithing, and charitable work. Going back to the service card that we saw from the last poll, give joyfully to the organizations and people who spiritually support and inspire you. And know that your generosity will be returned to you manyfold in miraculous ways. The time, supplies, money, or other resources you donate will ensure that your positive energy multiplies. And then words of abundance. You have the ability to instantly manifest abundance by choosing powerfully positive words. Always describe your own and the world's economic situation in loving and optimistic terms. And this is what you attract for yourself and others. So being optimistic, being aware of your words have power, and with great power comes great responsibility. Being responsible for the words you say, who you say them to. All right, now we'll pull from the Namaste deck, the Stress Less deck. Last time we got take what you need, leave what you don't. Don't be greedy. Also, very much connecting with the donations, tithing, and charitable energy. Purging. This is a good time of year to do that. Out with the old, in with the new. Like some real, not just like cleaning, but organizing, sifting through, like just using a clothes closet as an example. If it's something that you haven't worn this entire year, you didn't wear it from January of last year to January of this year, get rid of it. Make room for new. And that's just an example, a metaphor. Apply that thought process to all areas of your life. Physical, spiritual, emotional. All right. Namaste deck. Stress Less deck. Make friends with the voice in your head. Take a moment to make friends with the voice in your head. The best of friends listen more than they speak. So just take a while to listen to what the voice in your head is telling you. Are they nice things? Are they negative things? Just listen. Do this for 8 minutes. While doing this exercise, begin to accept the good words and put away the bad ones. Make friends with the voice inside your head so that when it speaks, it will shower you with encouraging thoughts and positive emotions. Once again, self-worth, self-love, self-confidence, and emphasizing the power of words. Not only the words you speak externally, but the words that you speak internally. Being aware of what they are, making sure they're positive. Releasing the negative energy so that it doesn't come out in your words. All right, now we'll pull from the Affirmators deck. Oh no, I'm yawning already. Last time we got patience and peacefulness. Patience was a very, very, very strong energy last time. We pulled patience from 4 different decks last time. So obviously that energy carrying into the new year. Being patient, being excited but willing to wait for what's to come. And how are you going to spend the time that you're waiting? Are you going to spend it in a positive way? Are you going to put that energy to something positive? Or, are you going to get down and out and start doubting yourself because it's not happening in the time or in the way that you thought it should? Whatever it is. A career, a relationship, a family situation, whatever, a friend situation. Generosity is what flipped over. We also see clarity, authenticity, don't take it personally, gratitude, gentleness, engagement, and trust. Connection and wonder. Hasn't been that long since we saw the generosity card. Also, look, the base color of yellow. Strong solar plexus energy. I give generously to those around me. No matter how much or how little I have, I know there is more than enough to go around. And the key is to allow it to keep going around without stopping. If I stop the flow, I'm like the one person at the stadium who doesn't do the wave. So very much connecting with the donations, tithing, and charitable work. Not only in color, but in, baseline meaning. Obviously, like the way I look at it is we should be that way all the time. But I feel the need to say, especially this time of year. There are a lot of people, especially people who are grieving, people who are mourning, whether that's from a recent loss or a loss from years ago. This is a very hard time of year for a lot of people. Life is difficult all the time, but when you combine like material, physical struggles with emotional, mental, and spiritual struggles, when you combine that all together, it can be detrimental to some people, for real. All right, now we're going to pull from the mindfulness deck. Also, that being said, something has recently come up in my personal life that, once again, as so many times before in my life, has brought attention to the fact that people that have in the past struggled with either mental health, physical health, or even like sobriety, like when they start to backslide in whatever way, they really struggle to reach out for help. They experience a certain amount of guilt, and they also experience a certain amount of shame. Like for example, okay, one that I'm sure is difficult for these people this time of year: compulsive shoppers, people that are addicted to shopping. Maybe, they had been on the wagon where they were really trying to get a handle on that addiction of theirs. And then here comes the holidays with all the sales, from really now it starts way before Black Friday. But we'll just hypothetically say from Black Friday on for a whole month, where people are just being bombarded with ads and sales and spend, 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 you know? And so for somebody that is a true addiction and something that they struggle with, this might be a time of year where they, quote unquote, fall off the wagon. And, then the holidays are over, the New Year's are over, and, they're left with their guilt and their shame and their regret, and they're ashamed to open up and talk to anybody about it, and they just keep falling deeper and deeper into that hole. So, first of all, if you're a person that's struggling with anything like that, don't be afraid to reach out to your loved ones. Because if somebody truly loves you, no matter what it is, if somebody truly loves you, they're not going to be ashamed of you. They're not going to want to punish you. They're going to be proud of you for being able to come to them and open up and ask for help. That's the difference between somebody who genuinely cares about you and somebody who doesn't. The first step is being honest with yourself. The second step is being able to actually do something about it. No matter what it is. Those were just the examples that came to my head. All right, now mindfulness. How can we practice mindfulness? We got 2. You do not need to tear yourself apart to keep others whole. Another way of saying that is you don't have to set yourself on fire to keep somebody else warm. Yes, be kind, be generous, donate tithes be generous with your time, your effort, your energy, but don't hurt yourself in the process. I don't know if you guys can read these or not, to be able to screenshot them. Okay, where it gives the little mindfulness exercises. Okay, though you may feel like you are alone in what you are going through, you should realize that your experience is shared with many. You are not alone in your experiences. Wow. What was I just saying? No matter what you're going through, you're not alone. Sure, it might take you a while to find the right tribe to connect with, or the right person that you can open up to, or the person that truly understands what you're going through. But that person is out there. And now in the time of technology where communication is literally just the click of a button, none of us should ever feel alone. But unfortunately, it seems like things are kind of backwards in that way, because in a time where communication and connection is the easiest it's ever been, we are more disconnected and alone than ever. Cheers. That's something I desperately wish would change. Which, don't get me wrong, there's all kinds of communities out there, but digital communication is not true connection. Being in the same room with somebody, that's true connection. You can't feel somebody's aura and somebody's true intentions through a text message. I mean, I guess you can, but I don't feel like that would be as accurate. But nonetheless. All right, now we're going to pull from the Unstoppable You Oracle deck. This is the newest deck we've added to the collection. All right, last time we got Let It Be Messy, Protect Your Vision, and Show Up Scared. Baby left me. Oh, they got Elvis on the radio. I tell you what, that's probably my favorite Christmas music is Elvis. But, I I'm an Elvis fan, so, but I mean, in reality, something that's maybe not as common, I actually prefer his gospel music to his rock music. His, on my list, it would be gospel, Christmas, then rock. To me, the rock music came when he started singing for the wrong reasons. Anyways, there's a lot of guys from that era that got sucked into, but I mean, there's a lot of people now. The music industry is in, it looked different, but only to us because it was a different era. But the same stuff was going on then that's going on now. You know, who was the one guy that died in the plane crash? Bebopper or, anyways, I don't know. All right. The next step is enough. We say that all the time. Smaller goals to accomplish a bigger goal. Taking baby steps is better than not moving at all. See how close those stepping stones are together? It's okay to take baby steps just as long as you're moving. So you don't get stuck, so you don't get stagnant. Be louder than doubt. Wow. Double confirmation on the doubt. Be louder than doubt. Small wins matter. Bam. Those small wins, those little accomplishments, those small little goals that you check off the list one at a time, they add up. Don't doubt your progress. Don't doubt your self-worth. Don't doubt your ability to do whatever it is for you in your life. Look at the imagery. See the stepping stones? See the stepping stones. The next step is enough. Either way you put it. Nice. You know, and it kind of, I think it came up a few videos ago where we talked about, you know, going into this winter time, going into this hibernation, going into this time of darkness, looking at the small wins you've already made. Look at, a lot of us fail to do that. We don't give ourselves the credit. We don't give ourselves that pat on the back that we need, even if we don't get it from other people. Giving it to words of abundance, words of self-love, not of doubt. You know, life can change so much in a year. My life this time last year was completely different. So many little milestones that I've accomplished that have gotten me to where I'm at. And no, I'm not where I want to be, but I'm not where I used to be. And even in the process of the struggle and, you know, the taking those baby steps, not only in my physical life, but in my spiritual life as well. And in my, you know, personal life. Not just what the outside world sees. Remember all those moments. Remember all those moments when, remember the patient energy that we got so much last time. Remembering all those moments where, you know, a year ago you might have flown off the handle, but this year you were patient and you were able to keep your cool. Yeah. Be proud of yourself for little moments like that. You know, some of those goals that we accomplish, those aren't goals that anybody else knew that we had. You know, it's not like something that we broadcast to the world. So the only person that can applaud us is us because nobody else knew it was something we were working on. So don't forget to do that. Don't forget to applaud yourself. All right, let's check. Even though those messages are pretty self-explanatory, we'll still look them up in the book. Okay, the first one, the one that fell out was the next step is enough. There it is. Page 81. 81 breaks down to a 9. Core message. Clarity comes from movement. Key themes. Presence, simplicity, momentum, trusting the process, releasing overwhelm, direction through action. Message. You don't need the full plan. You don't need to see the whole staircase. We got a similar message to this last time. You just need to take the next step and trust that it's enough. The path reveals itself through movement, not overthinking. So being able to put your thoughts into action. This card is your permission to stop obsessing over the big picture and come back to the moment. The next step, however small, holds the key to your momentum. From that movement comes clarity. From that clarity, direction. And from that direction, transformation. Let go of the pressure to figure everything out. All you need right now is to begin. Guidance. You may be feeling overwhelmed or stuck because you're trying to solve an entire journey in your head before taking action. But life unfolds through doing, not guessing. This card reminds you to trade perfection for presence. You'll know more after you move. There is wisdom in simplicity. Don't underestimate what one step can set into motion. Journaling prompts. What's the actual next step I can take, no matter how small? Where am I holding back because I think I need a full plan? We won't read the full messages on these others, but we'll read the cliff notes. All right, small wins matter. That's on page 57. Celebrate progress, not perfection. Key themes: daily momentum, gratitude, self-recognition, building confidence, motivation, and sustainable growth. And then be louder than doubt. Page 69. Core message. Your belief should be the boldest voice. Key themes: self-belief, confidence, inner voice, overcoming fear, mental strength, and empowerment. Strong self-confidence, self-love, self-worth. That's strong out here. Between the base chakra instinct affirmation, the strong solar plexus energy with all the yellow, plus all the general messages we've gotten already. When I picked up the deck, bold moves only on the bottom of the deck. Rest, then rise. You are not too much. What if it works? You are the magic. Own the room. So be confident, be brave, be bold. Not arrogant. Now remember, there's a fine line between confidence and arrogance. But in reality, the difference is how you treat other people. That's the difference between 64 fell out of the box when I opened it. Intuition, inner knowing, trust, awareness, mindfulness, reflection, and clarity. This is the angel number deck. Last time we got 44, signs, 10, embrace the journey, and 11, patience. And remember, we got the love card from the Wild Offering Oracle. talking about it's not about finding love, you are love itself. Ask for help and walk away on the cut as we're getting started. I already brought that up about not being afraid to ask for help in whatever way that is. You know, maybe there's something that you've been struggling with for a while and you've been hesitant to ask for help. Whatever it is, you got a 50-50 chance. It can either go really good or really bad. But you won't know until you move. Going back to what the card said about movement. That is way too many. 3, 4, 5, 63, 63, 37, 37, 14, 14. Also, before we do this, angel numbers that I've been seeing the last couple days, 555, 333, and 1010. 1010 I've been seeing for a while, for a hot minute. And then the 555 I've seen several times over the last couple days. And the 333, I think I saw that like twice. All right, we got 8, abundance. 64, 64, there it is, intuition on the bottom of the deck. And 3, 4, 5, personal power. That was in both of these were in the group that fell out, that we didn't keep. Actually, 64, 64, that was the one that fell out of the box when I opened the deck. 3, 4, 5 was in the group. But what flipped over was abundance, prosperity, opportunity, financial stability, emotional well-being, and transformation. If you're struggling financially or emotionally due to changes in your life or relationships, your angels want you to know that these difficulties are temporary and also an opportunity for growth. How can I embrace the changes in my life? Slow down, Ashley. How can I embrace the changes in my life as opportunities to cultivate greater abundance? Today, focus on one positive step you can take to improve your financial or emotional well-being, trusting that abundance is on its way. Also reinforcing the don't be afraid to ask for help. All right, intuition. 64, 64. Inner knowing, trust, awareness, mindfulness, reflection, and clarity. Cultivate mindfulness daily to strengthen your intuition. Spend time in quiet reflection, focusing on your breath, and let your mind settle into stillness. What is my intuition telling me about the current situation? How can I better listen to my inner voice? Dedicate a few minutes each day to mindfulness or meditation, allowing your inner voice to guide you without distraction. Trust the feelings and instincts that arise. And then 3, 4, 5, personal power. Personal power, strength, change, reflection, empowerment, future, and creation. You have the personal power and strength to create the changes you desire in your life. Reflect on your current situation and identify areas of dissatisfaction. Your future is in your hands and depends on how you choose to shape it. Excuse me, sorry. What specific changes do I want to make in my life, and how can I use my personal power to achieve them? Take a moment to write down the areas of your life where you feel dissatisfied and outline actionable steps you can take to address these issues and create the future you desire. So, kind of going back to what we talked about before, obviously the personal power aspect, but the making a plan, outline, deciding and establishing what your goals for this next chapter are going to be, getting organized. All right, we're going to take an intermission and I'm going to go get me some more tea. I'll be right back. Okay. I didn't take too long, did it? Oh, sorry. Go on, Copper. Go. Get out of my room. Go on. Thank you. Oh. All right, now we'll pull from the Celestial Insights. Last time we got trust, observe, value, indication, and patience. Remember, we got patience from 4 different decks last time. Patience. Be patient. Practice patience. Not only with yourself and the universe, but with the people, places, and situations around you. One more. That's too many. Commitment, hope, barrier maze, synchronicity, surprise, renewal, and yes. Clarity. Flew out of there. Let go, love on the bottom of the deck. And healing on the top of the deck. Twin flame under let go, love. And value indication under healing. I'm instantly drawn to the huge crystal that she has in her hand, or they have in their hand. Maybe working with some crystals. This looks like selenite is what that looks like, but it could be some kind of quartz or something. But healing. You're in the process of healing. Give yourself the time and space that you need. We talked about that already. Have you been neglecting your emotional or physical health? Prioritize self-care and allow yourself to recover fully. Go into hibernation. This is the best time of year to do that. I realize, that's easier said than done for a lot of people. But even if you can't stay in hibernation mode, at least try to get that meditation, that quiet time, that hibernation time a little bit every day. I may have to get my cough drops. I keep getting a little tickle in the back of my throat. I think with the warm temperatures that we've been having locally here lately. I think it's messing with like the trees and stuff's starting to bloom again. But the last 2 days I've been sneezing and having a lot of sinus issues. All right, let go love. Letting go of past love opens the door to new possibilities. Are you holding on to an old relationship? Release it and you'll find peace and the potential for new love. So, once again, letting go of people, places, things that no longer serve us, thought patterns that no longer serve us. And then clarity. Clear vision is leading you forward. Have you been feeling uncertain? Clarity is emerging. Take action with confidence and trust in your path. Let me go see what these dogs are doing. It sounds like they're tearing something up. You are tearing something up. Okay, I see it. Go ahead. You've already done it now. Go. You've already done it now. That was Darlin's pillow. Go. Copper tore up Darlin's pillow. Dogs will be dogs. Okay. I knew it sounded like they were tearing something up. My mommy ears went into full listen mode. I was trying to think of something more clever than that, but I couldn't. My brain froze. All right. Now we'll pull from the Mystical Dream deck. Last time we got Friends, Deceased, and Car. Unlock the secrets of your dreams. This is the deck where we saw the sword energy last time, which was still on the bottom of the deck as we were getting started. I haven't remembered any of my dreams in a while. Most of the time I don't remember them, but when I do remember them, they're very vivid, and I usually do a video about it. Oh. Unicorn, horse, happiness, and eyes. Oh, I'm fixing a sneeze too. Argument. The deck just like decided to go every which way. It hasn't been that long since we saw the unicorn energy, but I don't think it was from this deck. I think it was from the Forest Spirit deck. I don't know why I'm having such a hard time holding this deck this time. I'm sorry, I'm starting to sniffle. I know it's aggravating. Coma. Dragon and chasing. We got demon on the bottom of the deck and anger on the top of the deck. All right, so coma is what fell out first. Coma symbolizes a temporary pause or detachment from reality, representing rest, reflection, or recovery. Wow. What did I talk about at the very beginning of the video about recovering? Dreaming of a coma suggests you're in a transition phase, needing to withdraw and recharge. It invites you to take a break, heal, and prepare for the challenges ahead. Though it feels like a pause, it's an opportunity for renewal. Double confirmation on the healing energy. that we saw with the Celestial Insights deck. Also, remembering that we all heal differently. What works for me may not work for you, vice versa. All right, then we got dragon. Dragon symbolizes ancient wisdom, strength, and protective forces. Dreaming of a dragon suggests you're facing a significant challenge or powerful energy that requires inner strength. It encourages you to confront your fears, embrace your personal power, wow, and trust your ability to navigate life's mysteries. Look at that. Another confirmation. This one confirming the 345 angel number personal power. Embracing your purple power. Embracing your personal power, acknowledging it. Going back to what I said before, you have to acknowledge something before you can embrace it. All right, and then we got chasing. Chasing symbolizes anxiety and unfulfilled desires. Dreaming of being chased suggests unresolved desires or fears are disrupting your peace. The chase reflects inner restlessness and avoidance of issues. This dream urges you to confront your fears or desires directly, as running away will only prolong the struggle. That's right. That old saying, you can't run from your problems, they'll follow you everywhere you go. They might present from different people or in different situations, but in the end, they'll always show back up until you deal with them head on, no matter what kind of problems those are. Whether that's, problems in your external world or in your internal world. But either way, nobody know if, going back to the ask for help we saw with the angel numbers, if you don't let your needs be known, then nobody knows what your needs are. And you could be around people or in places or situations where, people could be of service to you or be generous to you and help you in some way, shape, or form. Not all assistance has to be financial assistance. All right, now we're going to pull from the Echoes of the Soul Oracle. Last time we got Echoes of Solitude and the Weight of Reflection. Going into those phases of reflection, that hibernation energy, that deep inner soul work energy, a lot of people don't want to do that because they don't want to feel those emotions. They don't want to remember those memories. They don't want to unlock that box. You know what I mean? Of all that stuff that's been buried away. But in most cases, it's kind of like a snowball effect. Once you start it, you can't really stop it. You could maybe slow it down, but it's inevitable. Once it starts, you can't stop it. The Veil of Crows and the Maverick. We've been seeing that Maverick energy a lot. Again, 9. You got 18 and 27, which are both 9 energy. Where else did we see the 9? I think that was on the page numbers in the book for something. But nonetheless, the Veil of Crows and the Maverick. The Veil of Crows is what was on top. The Gateway of Knowledge. Soaring Perspective. The Veiled Watcher, the Messenger's Chorus, and the Weight of the World. That's on the top of the deck. Shattered Perspective. All right, so let's see. Number 18. The Veil of Crows. Key themes: mystery, shadow work. What in the? Wow. Shadow work, hidden truths, facing fears, transformation through the unknown. What was I just saying about the dark places? That shadow work. Message: the veil of crows flutters in the wind, obscuring your vision but whispering of truths that lie just beyond your fears. What you resist may hold the clarity and strength you seek. Double confirmation on the clarity. By stepping into the shadows, you confront the mysteries that have held you captive. The crows, messengers of the unseen, guide you through the doorway of your doubts to uncover hidden truths. Trust in your courage to face the unknown. Behind the veil lies the light of understanding. Guidance. This card invites you to explore the shadows within yourself, the doubts, fears, and uncertainties that may be clouding your path. The Veil of Crows represents a threshold, a space where mystery and transformation coexist. To lift this veil, you must confront what you have avoided and trust that the journey into the unknown will bring clarity and growth. Shadow work is not about fixing yourself, but about understanding and integrating the parts of you that are often hidden. The more you embrace these aspects, the more fully you can step into your power. Wow. Personal power again. Affirmation. I am courageous in facing my fears and embracing the unknown through shadow work. I uncover hidden truths and step into my light. Actionable insight. Choose one fear or doubt that feels manageable. Triple confirmation on the doubt. That feels manageable to explore. Reflect on its source and write down how it has influenced your thoughts or actions. Then take one small step to confront it. This could be having a difficult conversation, trying something you've avoided, or meditating on the emotions it stirs. Notice how this act of courage shifts your perspective. Reflection. The Veil of Crows reminds you that clarity often lies in the places you fear to tread. By stepping into the shadows and facing what you've avoided, you free yourself to uncover the truths that empower you. This is not a journey to be rushed, but one to be undertaken with compassion and trust in your strength. What lies behind your veil of crows? How can you take the first step toward uncovering the truth it conceals? Wow. The number of confirmations that came through right there, I can't even, I would have to read all the cards again. All right, then we got number 27, the Maverick. We're not going to read the whole thing. We're just going to read the cliff notes. But this was backing the Veil of Crows. Key themes: individuality, unconventional paths, bold transformation, authenticity, self-confidence, and trailblazing. The affirmation: I stand boldly in my uniqueness, embracing my quirks and forging my own extraordinary path. Bam. Have the confidence to embrace your true, authentic self. Knowing that the more you do that, the more peace you will find, the more clarity you will receive, the easier it will be to heal. It's part of the healing process. We have to shed the old so that we can grow into the new, kind of like a snake shedding its skin. All right, now we'll pull from the Nature Seasons Oracle. Last time we got water, earth, and joy. Can I just say that as each day goes by, I become a little bit more obsessed with anything that's related to Scotland. I never knew until I did my Ancestry DNA last year. For those of you, I'm sure most of you don't know, this time last year, I bought myself an Ancestry kit for Christmas. And I found out that a lot of my ancestry comes from Scotland. And when I was younger, I always used to be like obsessed with going to Amsterdam, but that was for all the wrong reasons, other than the houseboats. But that was probably the only non-drug related reason why I wanted to go. You know, I've always wanted to go to like a coffee shop, head shop. Anyways, moving on. Now that I've gotten older and I've done the ancestry and I've learned a little bit about Scotland, the more I learn, the more I want to go. I've connected with a lot of different groups and a lot of different influencers from that area. Edinburgh. I want to go to Edinburgh. I mean, the whole country is just gorgeous, beautiful. But like the old castles and the old historic towns, and I just love that whole look. It makes me think of that, like seeing the old towns and stuff makes me think of that movie, Chocolat with Johnny Depp. Whoa, that card about bent in half. Spring, beginnings, and renewal. That happens a lot with this deck, I've noticed. Hope, faith, and expectation. Fox on the bottom of the deck. It hasn't been that long since we got that. Followed by bear. Hasn't been that long since we saw bear either. And earth came back out. Stability and support. Backed by joy. We've just put both of those back in. All right, so faith and expectation. Hope is the lighthouse guiding your way forward. Today, hold on to your faith in the future. No matter what challenges you face, keep hope in your heart. Hope allows you to see the light in the darkest of times, encouraging you to move forward. Wow, that makes me think of Dumbledore from Harry Potter. Even in the darkest of times, all you have to do is turn on the light. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let your light shine. Stability and support, earth energy. You need to find your inner stability. Ground yourself and feel the earth's support and peace. Take a moment to focus on what makes you feel safe and reconnect with your sense of trust. Wit and adaptability. Fox. Today requires adaptability. Change is inevitable, but those who can adjust quickly will find opportunities in the chaos. Stay calm, respond flexibly, and use your cleverness to find the best solution. Hope, Earth, and Fox. All right, now we'll pull from the Forest Spirit deck. Cheers. You know, this is the first batch of tea that I made with the passion flower herb that I got. And actually, while I'm thinking about it, I know this is probably going to be time consuming, but one of the herbs that we read about in the book 7, page 40, that didn't take long at all. I ordered, and when I Googled it to learn more about it, the medicinal benefits of this herb are amazing. I don't even know how to pronounce it. It's PAUD apostrophe ARCO, and it represents metamorphosis, discovery through darkness, transcendence of the known, unearthing fear, nonconformity, and breaking cycles, ruled by the moon and Pluto. And I actually, let me go get my book real quick because I wrote it down because I can't pull it up on my phone right now. It's anti-parasitic, antibacterial. It helps with infections and fungi bacteria like Candida, cancer treatment, inflammation, menstrual pain, immune support, wound healing if used topically, lupus and autoimmune, malaria, urinary tract infections, herpes simplex virus, influenza. It's a natural blood thinner. It helps with the with your gut health. It improves skin and hair health. It neutralizes free radicals. It supports the lymphatic system. It supports sebum, or it regulates sebum production, and it promotes scalp microbiome balance and improves circulation. So, if any of those things are anything that you deal with, I would suggest adding that to your repertoire of herbs. Okay, it just came to my mind, and I thought about it last night when I was making the tea because I added that with my passion flower. So, and it of course gave us a lot of information when we read about it in the herbal astrology, but when I actually Googled it, I was just amazed at. So I'm going to try to start adding it to every time I make tea. But it suggests not consuming more than 1.5, oh crap, was it grams? Yeah, no more than 1.5 grams per day. Okay, moving on. Forest Spirit Oracle. Last time we got Bear Spirit, Tiger Spirit, and Spider Spirit. Dreamweaver, Brave and Confident, and Untamed Spirit. All right. Forest Spirit Oracle. Air element. Aspirations. Let go of your worries and soar to new heights, harnessing the boundless power of your will. We got Crystal Spirit, communicate. Look at that. Confirmation on the crystal energy. Express yourself authentically and vulnerably to strengthen your relationships. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Like we talked about before, you know, you got a 50-50 chance. It's either going to go really good or really bad. And then look at that. Then you got water element on the bottom of the deck. Purification. Dive deep into your emotions, finding healing and renewal in the depths of your being. So air and water. Very winter energy. Very wintry vibes. Like in, oh, sorry, my bad. In this water element picture, it even looks cold. Look at that big full moon in the background. So, you know, if you do that kind of thing, maybe doing some crystal work with the full moon. The full moon is coming up on the January 3rd, 2026. Maybe even going out and sitting under the full moon, trying to get near some water if you can. Water is very cleansing, very healing. Water is constantly in motion. And, you know, in its natural state, in its natural flow, it's constantly moving. But that also being said, water can get stagnant too. And getting a lot of movement, like preparing for movement. Okay, now we're going to pull from the Animal Allies. Last time we got toucan and albatross. We got Flicka on the bottom of the deck and woodpecker on the top of the deck. That's how it was. That's how it stayed last time. Flicka and woodpecker are in the same family. I guess it was about this time last year that I learned that as well. Because I used to think that, like, when I would see a flicka or a flicker, I would think that it was just a baby woodpecker. But they're actually two different birds. But it's the same family. So, you know, I guess that could kind of reinforce like family energy. Letting go of the guilt of, you know, some kind of family issue. Going back to our angels of abundance, let go of the guilt. Carrying around the guilt, carrying around the grief, carrying around the anger isn't going to change what happened. And in the end, the only person that it hurts is you. The other people have moved on with their lives. You know, situations have changed. Places have come and gone, you know, whatever, depending on the situation. But letting go of the guilt, the shame, the regret. Raven. Sparrow on the bottom of the deck. Keep your eye on the sparrow. Woodpecker, look at that, still on the top of the deck. How about that? After all that shuffling, woodpecker still ended up on the top of the deck. All right, so first we got Raven. Raven superpowers. Magic operating on multiple planes at once. Inner awakening, ancient wisdom, transformation, and intelligence. Raven wisdom. Not all mysteries are scary or unsettling. Sometimes the most powerful gifts come to us through visions and prophetic nudges. Only the recipient can decipher what's been dropped at their feet. When Raven appears, keep your inner eye open for signs, symbols, and messages. Expect the unexpected. Raven wants you to know it's a good time to consider any new revelations or different thoughts knocking around your mind as an open invitation to conspire with mystical opportunities. Don't focus on the how, but rather stay open to the now. I don't remember which card we read it in, but where it talked about, not waiting for everything to be perfect, just do it. Oh wow. That was my mother all the way. Okay. Anyways, all right, Sparrow superpowers. Gratitude, diligence, strong work ethic, freedom, ability to rise above and embrace simplicity. We saw that somewhere already too, where it talked about embracing simplicity. We've pulled so many at this point, I can't remember which one that was, but yeah. Embracing simplicity makes it so much easier to find peace. I speak from experience. Sparrow wisdom. Many experiences like love, soulful connections, and intense bonds often start by being fostered and created within oneself. There is so much we can do for and with ourselves. Going back to that self love, self care energy. Sparrow wants you to know honoring your word to yourself is a vital tool to get what you want out of life. Self trust and self love take practice, and you're worth any and all effort. Going all the way back to the very beginning with the base chakra affirmation. You are worth it. Believe in yourself. Self love. Get rid of the doubt. Get rid of the guilt. Or at least start to accept it and deal with it. Start to heal. The more you let go, the more clarity will come. All right, and then we got Woodpecker. Woodpecker superpowers. Being in sync with the natural world, courage, motivation, a second wind, discernment, restructuring old habits and routines. Wow. New year, new you energy all the way. Woodpecker wisdom. Smart workarounds are always available. You simply need to look for them and decide when to employ them. When Woodpecker appears, realign with what matters most to you. Realize that you can answer the door because opportunity is knocking. Woodpecker wants you to know you are in charge of the way you respond to your reality. You can change directions, choose a new path, and meet opportunities or challenges with creativity or surrender. So, are you going to keep moving or are you going to get stuck? Going all the way back to when the next step is enough. Small wins matter. Be louder than doubt. Are you going to get stuck in your head or are you going to take action? Preparing yourself to take action, like using this hibernation, winter solstice energy, winter time to process everything, to get a plan, to get organized, to let go, to release, to grieve, to heal. So that when spring comes, we did see the spring card. It didn't come out, but we saw it. It's the one that almost bent in half. When spring comes, you'll be ready to put all that into motion. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, now we'll pull a crystal card. I don't think we actually pulled from these last time. I don't think we've pulled from these the last couple times, actually. So the ones that are here are from older pulls. It's been a while since we've pulled from this deck. All right. Explore the universe of gems and minerals. Honestly, a lot of times I don't like pulling from this deck because I don't know how to pronounce a lot of these stones. And I feel like I'm pronouncing them wrong. So I just don't pull from it. But I shouldn't do that. I shouldn't be like that. I saw tourmaline on the bottom as we were getting started. Yeah. Chris Koala. Yeah. Like the front of it looks like Chrysler, but that's CHRYSOCOLLA. Openness, wonder, and fluidity. Crystal fact: the copper in this stone gives it its vivid blue and green hues. Wow, so it contains copper. Copper has a lot of healing abilities. Nice. Yeah, I really didn't do good in English in school. Like, honestly, I did not excel in academia at all. Like, I got by, but I did not excel for sure. But I mean, I'm sure a lot of that had to do with effort. I never enjoyed school. I was always kind of a loner, a wallflower. You know, there was even a time in school when I moved to a different state up north. I lived in Wisconsin for 2.5 years. I was there for my eighth and ninth grade year. And I got picked on a lot in eighth and ninth grade, which was, I was always used to being kind of a loner, a wallflower, but I never really got picked on until I moved up north. So, it sometimes when you deal with that emotion, it can be difficult. I don't really know where I was going with that. I lost track of what I was talking about. So, if it sounds like that's what it was. Yeah. Okay. Christiel, that's Christ. Christ energy, 36. Beautiful. A Nutchiel, number 3 on the bottom of the deck. And Sachiel, the gypsy, basically 21 on the top of the deck. We'll read their general messages, but we won't read their whole cards. Yeah, I totally lost what I was talking about when I started talking about the school stuff. Sorry. It happens from time to time. When I go off on tangents like that, it's like I'll start talking about something that doesn't really matter, and Spirit will just cut it off. Be like, nope, that's not what we're doing right now. Like, okay, moving on. All right, 36. That is also 9 energy. We've seen 9 energy multiple times out here today. Peace. That's his main message, is peace. A more peaceful time is coming to you. You have worked hard to create peace in your life and the lives of others. Trust that as you do no harm shall come to you. Beautiful. Beautiful. All right, and then we had 21, wealth and charity. True wealth lies within. It is time to place more value on yourself so you can be generous without feeling drained. We already talked strong self-worth, self-love energy out here today. A nutshell, number 3, way shower. His main message: there is no one like you in all the world. You have a unique purpose. Believe in yourself and have confidence. Life is one big adventure. Okay, but I said love. It says life, but I said love. Love is an adventure as well, especially the self-love journey. That's a big adventure. You have to learn who you are all over again. Basically, if you're somebody that struggles with self-love and self-care, that typically means that you're somebody that gave all your love and energy and care to other people. So when you stop doing that and you start giving it to yourself, it really is like like the symbolization that they use with the butterfly. You know, you kind of turn to mush and then you come out this new, healed, more powerful version of yourself. I feel like we go through that process multiple times in our lives. You know, and sometimes are more significant than others. Like different levels. Because most people typically go through several different kinds and versions of death and rebirth energy throughout their lives. But it's typically in different areas. You know, like one time it'll be in the area of career. Next time it'll be family. Next time it'll be love. You know what I'm saying? So we go through several versions of that death and rebirth, that transformation energy. Because anytime we go through something that pulls from us in all ways, it pulls from our mental, our physical, our spiritual, our financial. When it pulls us in multiple different directions, that has a traumatic effect on who we are. Not, and when I say traumatic, I don't necessarily mean negative, but it has a very transformative effect on us as individuals. Most trauma does, but it's up to us to whether it has a positive or a negative transformative effect on our lives and us as individuals. All right, now we're going to pull from the Chakra Wisdom Oracle. Last time we ended up taking 5, which is unusual, but we just read the cliff notes of all of them. We had enlightenment, perception, faith, abundance, and gratitude. That's not going to fit up there. Okay. We got perfection on the bottom of the deck as we're getting started, and grief on the top of the deck as we're getting started. It's important to create a safe space that you can call your own. For a long time, that place for me was my car. Like anytime I just needed to have a quiet place, a safe space, a comfortable space, it was always my car. That's not necessarily the case now, but for a long time that was. It's important to have that, no matter what it is. The bathroom, a closet, your car, hell, under your bed, whatever. A place where you can feel comfortable, a place where you can feel safe, where, you can talk out loud to yourself if you want to, and you don't have to worry about anybody hearing you and invading your privacy or whatever, hence creating a safe space. So you can pray out loud if you want to, so you can scream and cry if you want to, and just let things flow naturally. And I've said this before, but I'll say it again. For a lot of people, especially if that's, if expressing your emotions is an area where you feel uncomfortable, to where like it doesn't come naturally to you to be able to express those emotions, a lot of times listening to music in a controlled environment can help induce that release. Whether it's just instruments, like instrumental music or music with words, even healing frequencies is a good one to use. Release. Wow. What was I just saying? Practice and experiment with different ways to help you release that emotion. Whether it's through dance, through art, through nature, through music, through acts of service, through whatever it is for you. What's your love language? Find out, love yourself in the way that you would love other people, and allow yourself to release. That's not like a one time and done thing. Just like I was just saying, the death and rebirth energy, the transformative energy that we go through multiple times in our lives, the healing, the releasing, none of that ever ends. It's, we might have downtime where we've had victories and, we're resting in between the chapters, but it's something that needs to be done on a regular basis, is what I was trying to get to. All right, and then we have creation on the bottom of the deck and victim on the top of the deck. We saw the victim card last time. Somehow it showed, or in one of the recent past, look at that, perfection still on the bottom of the deck. Wisdom after victim. Wow, that's a strong message. Once the victim, you turning that victimhood into wisdom, learning those lessons. Look, see how you got the spirit's face in the acorn, and then over here you got the spirit's faces in the bushes. Here you only have one. Here you have two. So you've expanded your spiritual team. Gaining wisdom from being a victim. And one thing that goes into that is no longer playing the victim. Getting smart, wising up, not feeling sorry for yourself anymore. Taking the lessons, taking the knowledge, taking the wisdom and applying it to your life so you don't become the victim again. All right, release and creation. Both of those are the color gray, which represents spirit energy, crown chakra energy. The one that came out was release. Shadow gray storm. See all that you are, for you possess a power that you have yet to understand. This may feel daunting, but great freedom awaits as you meet your shadow self. Once again, talking about shadow work. Profound inner wisdom is coming to you. Double confirmation on the wisdom energy. Stand steady. You are more than you know. Believe in yourself. Release the self-doubt. Release the guilt, the shame, the regret, the sorrow. Finding ways to release that. You know, it's not easy. It doesn't come easy to everybody. It doesn't come easy for me. I struggle with it. And a lot of times, for me, it comes out at the most inconvenient times. Something will trigger me. A smell. The sound of somebody's voice. Certain songs. All kinds of different nostalgic memories can trigger us at some of the most inconvenient times. Okay, then we got creation. She shaman. Letting go of old ideas and allowing new growth are primary now. The mission you have been on may be complete. A new dawn is coming, and it is time to open yourself up to divine inspiration. The message is here. Let go. You no longer need to be the warrior. Wow. The mission you have been on may be complete. The chapter, it's the end of a chapter. It's the end of an era for so many of us in so many different ways, on so many different levels. You know, if you really think about it, ever since like 2019, 2020, the world has changed so much, so fast, in major ways. And not everybody is coping with it as well as others. I mean, I'm just saying. All right, now we'll pull from the Wandering Heart Oracle. Last time we had the Blessing in Disguise. That was the sword energy as well that we saw last time. And if you look in this card also, there's the Raven energy, which we have today. All birds are considered messengers, but some are more revered than others for their skills. Ravens are very intelligent birds, but you know, honestly, I think all birds are super smart. You know, we just haven't researched all of them as much as we've researched ravens. But anyways, they are known for their intelligence. There's a guy here on YouTube that like rescues them and saves them and rehabilitates them and stuff, and they talk to him, and there's one that like rides on his shoulder. And you know, like here in America, I don't really think we have true ravens here. We have crows, but I mean, I could be wrong, I could be mistaken, there could be ravens here, but most of the videos and stuff that I see of people with ravens, they're in other countries. But ravens are so much bigger than crows. And you really don't notice it unless you like really pay attention, or if you're looking at them like side by side. But ravens are really big birds. Their beaks are huge. I mean, compared to a crow. Obviously, they're birds with bigger beaks, but compared to a crow. All right, Wandering Heart Oracle. Oh, that being said, speaking of birds, more signs. Okay, I told you about the angel numbers, the 333, the 555, the 1010, but then also the birds. The first was the other day. I had opened the back door to let the dogs out, and I don't know, I counted up to 8, but there were more, but they started flying around, so I couldn't count them anymore. Bluebirds that landed in the tree in my backyard, and they stayed there the whole time we were out there. And then yesterday morning on my way to work, red-tailed hawk flew over the road as I was driving by. It flew over top of me type thing. Well, then this morning when I was on my way to work, or wait, no, I take that back. This afternoon when I came home on my break, there was a red-tailed hawk. I don't know if it was the same one or not, sitting on the power lines. And then, of course, after my break, I went back to work. On my way home, which was hours later, it was still sitting in that same spot. So I don't know if it was like hunting in that field that it was over, but nonetheless, bluebirds and red-tailed hawk could be of some significance. And then this morning it was the vulture. When I got to work this morning, and I went to take a smoke break before I actually opened the doors for the day. And, vultures usually travel in packs. Like there's or flocks, I should say. But this one was all by itself. And I was already standing outside, and it flew up and landed on the very tippy top of a power pole, and just stood there and watched me the whole time. All right. I'll hush now and read the cards. 3, 23, and 7. Fertility, mourning, and silver lining. That imagery in itself could be seen in a certain way. When I look at the hole in that tree, it's like a void, like a black hole. It makes me think of what I was talking about at the beginning of the video. When somebody needs to ask for help, but they don't, and they just keep falling deeper and deeper into the darkness. Mourning. And silver lining. 3, 5, and 7 energy. All right. Fertility. Your aspirations lay the foundation for fertile grounds. Grow something beautiful. New life and imagination. There is a theme of abundance in your life. You are a significant provider of light in the world. Your vision is vigorous and clear. Creativity runs fluid. You harness mother energy. You are in a space of developing impressive ideas and designing new beginnings. Do not take this moment for granted. Stay innovative. If you're being called to parent, receive it. If you're being called to lead people, accept it. Channel this energy into rewarding experiences. Anything you produce with humility and devotion will be nothing short of exceptional. All right, and then we'll go ahead and do 7 silver lining. There will always be a silver lining somewhere nearby. This person's getting struck by lightning. I'm getting like aha moment with that, like a light bulb turning on. Satisfaction and karma. Your optimism pays off. The days of disorientation, rejection, affliction, and instability have come to an end. And looking back, you can make more sense of them. Your heart feels absolute. Your mind is tranquil and serene. You've prevailed through a multitude of turmoil and disadvantages that you were convinced you would never make it past. Wow, what did I say at the beginning of the video? I lost my space. You've gone through relationships that were severely toxic and terribly demanding. Overall, you made the right choice by removing yourself and choosing your mental health and self-development before all else. Walking away, letting go, strong energy there. All right, 23. Morning. The grief will haunt you if you don't make friends with it. What? What? Where did we read about making friends with your shadow? Was that in the release? Shut up. Heartbreak and worry. The foundation of what brings you the most of both fulfillment and satisfaction has collapsed. You are encouraged to fall apart if need be. With time, you will recover. Look at this card as if it were the Tower. You are either at the end of something or the beginning. The longer you hold on to the pain and distress, the longer misery has a hold of you. This is not a time to repress your feelings and put on a brave face. Spirit warns that you need to confront yourself and unpack your devastation before you can carry on. Wow. Mic drop, please. I'm singing in the rain. I'm singing in the rain. What a glorious feeling. I'm happy again. I don't know if that's what he really says or not. I don't know the whole song. Anyways, that's what popped in my head just then. All right, now we're going to pull from the Animal Spirit Oracle. Last time we got fox, deer, and frog. We've already seen the fox energy out here today. You do not need to tear yourself apart to keep others whole. Let go of guilt. Words of abundance. Speak words of abundance over your life. Seek solitude in order to manifest time of release. Let go of self-doubt. That's a hard one to do, but that's part of the self-love journey is, not comparing, not having expectations, because the expectations you have are based on what you've been through, not what you're going to. So your expectations are never going to line up to where you're going. Because if it's a place you've never been, you don't know what to expect, right? So any expectations that you can have are, quote, basically unrealistic expectations. Because if you've never been somewhere, if you don't know anything about it, you can't really expect to have realistic expectations. And you can never base your experience off of somebody else's experiences. Yes, you can get generalized ideas, and feedback, but your experience will never be exactly the same as somebody else's experience, vice versa. Take what you need and leave the rest. Going back to the namaste that we got last time. Take what you need and leave what you don't. Bee energy, it hasn't been that long since we saw that. Camel on the bottom of the deck. Raccoon on the top of the deck. Raccoon is earth energy. Talented, shadowy, and in hiding. Generous friend. When in balance, generous friend and exceptional artist. When out of balance, starving artist. To bring into balance, make new work. All right, and then we got Camel, which is fire energy. Resourceful, independent, and knows one's self. When in balance, calm, content, and sparkle in their eye. When out of balance, dehydrated and lacks vitality. To bring into balance, a pilgrimage. The Camel card is on page 133. Hold on, I didn't look and see what. Hold on. Raccoon was on page 69. 69, yin and yang energy, Gemini energy. 6 and 9 makes 15, which breaks down to a 6. 133 breaks down to a 7. 6, 7. 6, 7, 6, 7. I don't even know what that means. I know the interpretation I heard, which is what I like, but I don't know what most people think that means, so I shouldn't be saying it. There was a video that popped up on my feed where the guy was talking about how 6 is the number of days that God worked. 7th was the day that he rested, so 6, 7. 6 plus 7. Anyways, he did a whole big countdown thing. I liked it. I think I might have even shared it on the community tab, but I'm not sure. All right, B. Earnest, hardworking, democratic. When in balance, content, active, and vibrant. When out of balance, overworked and annoyed. To bring in balance, a mini vacation. Man, I could always use a mini vacation. I think most people could, but unfortunately, there's a lot of people at this point in society that have gotten used to being in a box and they have no desire to get out of that box. It's unfortunate, but it's true. All right, now we'll pull from the Herbal Astrology deck. Last time we got number 30, Echinacea, Destiny. We had Rosemary on the top of the deck. Number 3, Ancient Memory. Motherwort 13, strength. It did not want to let me pick it up. Motherwort is actually one of the herbs that's in the tea that I'm drinking tonight. Hibiscus Joy 14 on the bottom of the deck as we're getting started. Herbal Astrology Oracle. Whoa, my bad. Lavender, St. John's wort. Radiance, Weaver, Revival, Death, Patience, and Guardian. Polisanto showing up. We're not going to keep all those. Oh, there's more there. Passion Flower, Surrender, Rebirth, and Strength. Motherwort showed itself again. Milk Thistle. Peaceful Warrior. Where did we read that we don't have to be the warrior anymore? Peaceful Warrior, number 23. Double confirmation on the 23 energy with the mourning card. If you look at it, she almost kind of looks like she's in mourning. Was that the card that said we don't have to be a warrior anymore? Let's see what that... Hold on. Mourning, 23. Spirit warns that you need to confront yourself and unpack your devastation before you can carry on. No, that's not the one where it talked about the not being a warrior anymore. But nonetheless, double the confirmation on the warrior energy and on the 23 energy. All right, Milk Thistle, 23. Peaceful Warrior. Peaceful Warrior, Shield, Truth Keeper, Shelter, Sanctuary, Safekeeping, and Justice. Astrological ruler, Mars and Moon. Native to the Mediterranean, the Greek physician and botanist, I'm not even going to try to say that name, was the first to write down milk thistle's healing properties in the 1st century AD. Milk thistle was a remedy for diseases of melancholy, assisted in the production of breast milk, and acted as a powerful anti-inflammatory for the liver and gallbladder. Milk thistle's characteristic violet fuchsia flowers and white-veined leaves are said to embody the Virgin Mary's milk. I'm going to sneeze. Oh, sorry. There are many magic rituals associated with this protective flower. Traditionally, flowers were thrown into the fire to deflect lightning, and garments were woven with thistle fibers to protect the wearer from any spells. Dolls, puppets, and magical tools were often stuffed with thistle to break negative, depressive spells, melancholy, and evil hexes. In Europe, witches would make large vats of thistle to call in the spirits. A bowl of thistle tea in a room is said to revitalize energy, bring strength, and renew the spirits. Thistle was often planted in entryways to ward off thieves or parasitic energy. Milk thistle embodies the spirit of the fierce badger. as it's an aggressive healer known to rid the body of disease, poison, and toxic substances. Many Native American traditions associate badger medicine with powerful medicine women, as badgers are some of the greatest protectors of Earth's medicine. Badgers act quickly and efficiently in a crisis, and they do not panic, embodying the primal warrior elephants elements of Mars. Badgers fiercely find the means and courage to protect what's theirs, regardless of the consequences. Milk thistle also falls under the moon's rulership, as it's a galactigo, meaning it assists in milk production, along with assisting the entire gastrointestinal system. Guidance. Milk thistle dispels the damaging and destructive thoughts that can induce an endless loop of self sabotage. Abandon insecurity, gossip, and fear based protection strategies that enable frustration or a false sense of growth. Do not waste your time trying to control what cannot be controlled. Like a peaceful warrior, set your boundaries firmly and fiercely. Like badger, milk thistle shakes up systems that hinder innovation and halts patterns and behaviors that stunt growth. Know that what you are not changing, you are choosing. Wow, that was a mouthful. So once again, you know, really going within and doing some introspection. The badger energy made me think of my Dachshund princess that I used to have. I had her until she was almost 18. I had to have her put down because she was in stage 4 kidney failure. But Dachshunds are bred to hunt badger. That's why their bodies are so close to the ground and so long, because they actually go into the badger hole and then they back out because the badger's running them out. And that's how they get the badger to come out of the hole. The dog goes into the hole, makes the badger mad. The badger is pushing the dog out of the hole and comes out, and that's how they're able to catch the badgers. So that's what it made me think of. All right, now we're going to pull from Mary Magdalene and we'll be done. Last time we got the soul. I am free. I have not bound anything. The ego binds, the soul is free. One more. Mary, Mary, full of grace, what advice can you give us today? The breath, backed by the second power. I reclaim my soul. I trust what my soul desires. We're only going to read the breath because these cards have really long messages, but we will define the second power. The second power is on page 4, the breath, page 26. Christ explains the ego, the creation of the ego, so perfectly in the Gospel of Mary. Matter, quote, matter gave birth to the passion which has no image because it derives from what is contrary to nature. A disturbing confusion then occurred in the whole body. The soul voice meditation that goes with the second power. What have I been clinging to or trying to control? Once again, talking about trying to control what can't be controlled. It talked about that in the milk thistle, and I'm pretty sure we saw that somewhere else too. All right, then the breath, 26. I reclaim my soul. The Gospel of Philip reminds us that the brain emanates the flesh. What we come to life with that first inhale when we've emerged from our mother's body, and we leave this body with an exhale when it's our time for what's next. The breath is so simple that it's perhaps the easiest aspect of being alive to take for granted. And yet the breath has the power and potential to bring us back to life, into this moment happening right now, just as it did when we were first born. When we are trapped in one of the 7 powers of the ego, all we need to do is become aware of our breathing. If we can bring presence into the pain through an intentional breath, we can reclaim and remember our power to shift everything that comes next. We can take one intentional breath to return to the body and drop into the heart. We can take a second intentional breath to connect to the presence of love that rests within us. And then we can take a third intentional breath and surface drenched now with the presence of love to guide us. 3 intentional breaths can change everything. Do not take my word for it. Practice those 3 breaths, especially when you don't want to, especially when someone's yelling at you or when you're the one yelling, when you're furious or when you're more anxious than you've ever been, and when you're about to react in hurtful ways to someone who is hurting you. Just before reacting, before repeating a pattern of hurting and being hurt, stop. Take 3 breaths, return to the heart, reclaim your soul, then open your eyes, more anchored to how love might heal you. To kiss in Hebrew means to breathe together, to share the same breath or spirit. The Gospel of Philip reveals that Christ loved Mary more than all the disciples. He often kissed her on the mouth. It is through the breath that we can experience a new embrace, so that what comes next isn't from the ego alone. It's also from the heart of who we are. It's straight from the soul. The soul voice meditation. Take 3 intentional breaths right now to reclaim your soul. Breath work. Relying on, going back to what we talk about so often about practicing the pause, taking the time to stop and breathe and regroup. Whether it's 5 minutes, 50 minutes, 5 hours, whatever. Really taking the time to be in the present. The ability to stop yourself from slipping into the past or projecting into the future. Making a genuine conscious effort to be in the present. All right, as always, be grateful for what you have, the big, the small, and the blessings yet to come. If you see a need out there today, tomorrow, next week, if there's any possible way that you can fill that need, please do so. You may not only better their day, but you could possibly change their life, and you never know the impact it could have on yours. Be blessed, find peace, and I'll see you next time.